Now I don't know if it's just a me thing, but ever since Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 came out, the memes in the fandom have become a lot funnier. Though maybe it's just because older memes get less funny as time goes on. This probably went hard as hell back in 2018. But the chapters 3 and 4 era has some pretty funny stuff. Chris automatically connecting to the bunker Wi-Fi was really good, and I swear Asgore hitting Des with his truck was funny 3 months ago. Not only have the memes become a lot funnier, but they've also become super popular. When I was hanging out with my extended family during the end of the summer, my little cousin started singing that driving in my car song, and I was like, dude, how do you know what that is? You're 9 years old. Undertale is older than you are. But out of every meme that spawned from chapters 3 and 4, I think the most popular, besides the truck, is most definitely Togore Dreemurr, the middle child of Asgore and REAL Deltarune. Now, I made a community post asking you guys what you thought of Togore, and the responses were actually pretty mixed. Like, some of you guys straight up despise him. But Togore Dreemurr was actually one of my favorite Deltarune memes that came out of chapters 3 and 4. And before I get actually'd in the comments, I know he's been around for a long time. It's just that he didn't get popular until last July. And when I say popular, I mean he got really popular, but I'll get more into that later. But it wasn't just Togore that I found myself liking. Chapters 3 and 4 spawned a vast array of characters that are said to have been in the game the entire time. Noelle's older brother Chester, her cousin Rory Knight, and all of Sans' weird brothers are awesome. And despite how absolutely rotted some of these characters ended up being, the fact that people are trying to convince the fandom that these little critters are all real is kinda hilarious to me. Now, I'm not really sure what to call these types of characters. I kinda wanted to call them Graggle-likes, named after the iconic Graggle Simpson, but that just didn't sound catchy enough. Some other names that I thought up for the genre as a whole were Gaslight Tail, Deltarune, and my personal favorite, Those Little Freaks. Now, a few of you guys have said the most popular name for these types of characters are Fangoners, which works extremely well for a couple of reasons that I'll get into later. But if I had to pick a name for them, it would definitely be the Extended Family, because it seems like a staple that each of these little critters are in some way related to the main characters in Deltarune. And if you're asking, Kus, do you only like these guys because you're a little bit of a pathological liar? No. And if you're a Deltarune character that's been here the entire time, hit that subscribe button. I'll get into my reasons soon, so without further ado, let's gas the lights and dive into my favorite Delta freaks. Now, of course, I have to start the video off by talking about the golden boy of the Gaslight Rune community. Starting off as a little name joke in the fandom years ago. What if Asriel's name ended up being Togore? Well, the joke ended up evolving and created its very own little homunculus. First off, I genuinely adore Togore's design. I love his stupid giant eyes that just stare into your soul and his neutral expression. I also like that by looking at his design, you could obviously tell he's the Dreemurr's middle child. He wears Asriel's striped shirts, which are obvious hand-me-downs, and he also serves as the balance between Asriel and Chris, as while he is a monster like Asriel, he doesn't have the goat horns like Chris. Like I said earlier, the fact that the fandom kept trying to gaslight people into thinking Togore was real is super funny. And to explain why I think Togore's hilarious, I'll have to tell a little personal story. See, back in middle school, I had this friend named Tim, who was one of my closest friends and one of the main 7 in my group. He ended up leaving after 6th grade, and throughout middle and high school, our group just kept getting bigger and bigger with new people joining. And during the summer after high school graduation, we reunited with him, and he rejoined the group. And when we, the original 7, told our friends, they were like, who the hell is Tim? Because we hardly ever brought him up, and after thinking back on it, I realized that Tim was just straight up the Togore Dreemurr of our friend group. Oh, you don't know Tim? He was the secret member of the original friend group. He's been a staple character this whole time. It just sounds like we were trying to gaslight them. And all because of this, I realized that it wouldn't be the most outlandish thing in the world if Togore was actually real. Hey, we don't know everything about Chris's familial life, so who knows? They could have had a middle brother this whole time. Maybe he's just out camping or something, I don't know. But the thing that makes me love Togore Dreemurr the most is the fact that the Deltarune fandom straight up transformed him into an interesting and compelling character. So many people helped mold Togore in amazing ways. The comics about how he was originally reluctant to have Chris be a part of the Dreemurr family before warming up to them is adorable, and the ways creators have given him intricate relationships with his siblings, parents, and the holidays is genuinely compelling. The artist who made a comic of him being obsessed with looking for Death's holiday is actually genius. He was even given his very own iconic catchphrase. I don't care what anyone says, Togore-tastic is badass. I know a lot of people find Togore overused and annoying, and I do kinda get it, but the fact that the Deltarune fandom treated Togore with so much love and care that they turned him into an interesting character is just straight up beautiful. They also, of course, got him into Undertale's 10th anniversary stream. You know who didn't get into the stream? Me. But I'm not too bitter. Let's just say my Mettaton body pillow was given to charity. But yeah, while the whole silly gaslighting stuff was funny, the fact that Togore, this made-up joke character, became so amazing is honestly Togore-tastic. Now I can't talk about these strange UnderDelta relatives without going over the eldest of them all, Prunsel. Prunsel, if you couldn't tell, is a massive floating eyeball and the brother of Sans. The best part about him is obviously the fact that he just came to someone in a dream, and judging from how incredibly creepy and ominous he is, there's a strong possibility he wasn't manifested by the human mind and instead infiltrated someone's head to invade our reality. The bottom line is that Prunsel is one creepy dude, but that's what makes him so cool. Sans' brother being this giant eye is hilarious to think about, and despite how terrifying he is, Sans just doesn't give a crap. The fact that he's also supposed to be the replacement for Papyrus and fills in for him in every scene is kinda awesome. Imagine going on a date with a giant eyeball. Where would that go in the Kustopia Undertale dating tier list? The answer is high. But it would also be funny if it was Sans, his brother Papyrus, and their youngest brother Prunsel, the massive eye who speaks in red glows. Overall, a phenomenal character. You gotta give your respect to the OG. Now, after Togore, the next Gaslight Rune character I encountered was Chester Holiday, who is, I'm pretty sure, the middle child of Rudy and Carol Holiday. Now, while I did like Togore a lot, the existence of Chester really got me into these meme characters. The creator of Chester also comments on some of my community posts. So if you're watching this, Raltsy, I don't know, I really like your character. Like Togore, Chester got a lot more characterization the more popular he got. He's this kind, goofy jock and the best friend of Togore, with the two of them quite possibly even being lovers. The art people make of the two of them is just straight up beautiful. Chester continues the trend of Dreemurrs and Holidays being connected to one another. His dynamic with his sisters and parents is also super cool to see, since he's more extroverted and happy compared to the shy Noelle and rebellious Des. He was also forgotten by the universe itself, acting as an outsider looking into a reality where he never existed, hence why I said earlier that the name Fangoners worked. Chester being forgotten by the universe is a super interesting concept, and it continues another trend of horrible crap happening in the holidays. But I think the funniest part about Chester is the fact that he was created to joke about the knight's identity. A majority of the fandom believes that the Roaring Knight is Des Holiday, and even more believe that it has to be someone in the Holiday family. Sorry, Papyrus Knight believers, stay strong. But Chester's existence is funny as hell, because yeah, the Roaring Knight could be Des, or Carol, or Rudy, but it could also be the Holiday's secret middle child, Chester. Always bet on Chester Knight, ladies and gentlemen. But maybe it isn't Chester, it could also be Noelle's cousin, Rory Knight. Actually, looking at him now, I don't really see it. I swear, there's even a character called Easter Holiday, who was Noelle's uncle or something, but I just can't find any evidence of his existence. I could've sworn I saw him on Twitter or something. Was it psychosis? Am I just insane from obsessing over these weird characters? I don't know. But Chester, despite not being as popular as Togore, is honestly a super cool character, and another example of these joke characters becoming something more. Raltsy even created cutscenes for him, and honestly, it makes Chester being the knight more believable. It's all very awesome. Alright, now I get to talk about the most rotted part of the Mandela Light Gastail genre. After Prunsel, it took years before Sans and Papyrus ended up getting more siblings. The meme originally started when Sans called Papyrus's junior jumble a puzzle for baby bones, which was just his goofy Sans way of saying it was an easy puzzle for children. But then, Baby Bones became his very own character, being the youngest of the Skeleton brothers. Honestly, it was kinda clever, but it became rotted very fast. The fandom took the way Sans frequently uses the words "my brother" and ended up creating a vast assortment of siblings. How can we forget about Dirty Brother the Skeleton, who you kill during the genocide route, or has a very special attack the Skeleton, or Real Star the Skeleton, or Pretty the Skeleton, or Cool the Skeleton, or started a sock collection recently the Skeleton. It's basically Kid Named Finger all over again. The names started off kinda clever and ended up becoming stupid so fast, but honestly, I think it ended up becoming so stupid that it looped around to being funny for me. You could also argue this is more of an Undertale meme than a Deltarune one, since everything we've seen so far has been from Undertale, but it's not unreasonable to think that this meme started to really kick off because of how elusive Sans has been about his brother in Deltarune. We haven't seen Sans' brother throughout all 4 chapters, and who knows, there's an above 0% chance that this brother could be Prunsel or Baby Bones. We have no way of knowing. I can be the very first person to say that started a sock collection recently the Skeleton could be the Roaring Knight. But despite none of these characters becoming as complex and interesting as the likes of Togore and Chester, the sheer mind-numbing stupidity of all of them made me start really liking them. Also, the thought of Sans and Papyrus's house being full of all these insane siblings is really funny to me. So, those were some of my favorite Delta Light Under Deltarune characters. I honestly have a few more I really want to talk about, like Relce and the members of Lancer's family, but I'll save those guys for another video, since college is really starting to pick up and I've been working a lot more. At the end of the day, although it is fun trying to convince people that these critters are in the game, the fact that a lot of these characters have grown with the care of the fandom is really nice to think about. Anyways, thank you all for watching, my name's Kustopia, and remember, always bet on Chester Knight.